sector. Thank you, sir.
The Honorable Justice D.N. Patel Saab, Chairman of the TD-SAT, my esteemed friends, respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, ladies and gentlemen. The dispute resolution pertaining to the cyber sector, that is the topic as allotted to me. Dear friends, in the 13.8 billion years of our country cosmic history, our Earth is 4.54 billion years old. About 1.9 million years ago, the first human ancestor evolved. Approximately 4 lakhs years ago, the use of fire became the part of the human life. 3 lakhs years ago, the trace of modern human and their evaluation started. About 300 years ago, electricity was found by the humans, and approximately hundreds of years ago, the first telecommunication was discovered by the humans. In these 3 lakhs years of a mankind, we have evolved in various ways and used by the science and technology. Mankind has made a remarkable invention that paved the way, better place to the life. The recent past, there are many tribunals have been started. Of course, we be the leaders of the bar. There are some problems throughout the country. Even when the virtual hearing started, some of the bars have been opposed. That's what we discussed when Mr. Wilson told us we are getting TD-SAT regional bench in Tamil Nadu. Of course, we are lucky, he said. But what is the development, the stage of development each and every year? There are many inventions are there. And the cyber sectors, there are a number of bank frauds. If cyber crimes, then immediately we are approaching the court and lodging a complaint. This is one aspect. Whether we are getting a remedy, absolutely it's a nil. Because the recent past I conducted a number of cases in Madras High Court and as well as the Supreme Court. Bank has adjusted some amount. The person who is affected, he comes and say, the bank has misused that money. He has not returned the money to my account. He kept the money in the separate account and he got the benefit of the interest. That is the dispute. So the court has come there are a number of occasions and issued a direction to lodge a complaint, CBCID, this, that, and it goes on. And then thereafter the applications which has been filed before the court, that has taken into considerations to find out where the fraud which has been taken place. But bank says, I did not use the money. It is in his account only. For many years I have not used. But this has gone more than 5 years. And the people are running to pillar to post, post to pillar. So in such a circumstances, what kind of help the TD-SAT can do? In cyber sector, this dispute, absolutely to sit among them. There are a number of mediators are here, trained mediators, and such as disputes as comes and approach. And what type of dispute you can take up? Or how it has been telecast. There are a number of issues which has come throughout the world. Even the cyber crime issues relating to cyber forum, it's a dispute resolution mechanism, is one of the most glaring issues faced by our country. with the huge base consumers involved in the cyber forum India, in the past few years seen a number of cyber crimes and disputes related to the cyber forum. Even after a structure, the dispute resolution mechanism has been passed a number of occasions. Even the parliament also said, certain dispute there is no way. We have to find out what is the solution. So at this juncture, each one of us needs to think about the aspect, bringing awareness among the general public who contribute as the major stakeholder and the users of the cyberspace. In any event, it becomes necessary of the authorities to prevent the welfare of these stakeholders. One such a major safeguard brought by the legislature to protect the welfare of these stakeholders is the Information Technology, the Act 2000, in the year 2000. By way of the Act, the legislature and the government provide the legal recognitions to the transactions carried out by the electronic means and gave its legal recognition the concept of electronic commerce. When there is a wide usage of implementations, it is common that the said particular forum will face it's a dispute. The cyber dispute space is no different and is for the prone to dispute, and that the reasons for the act have its own adjudicating mechanism with the penalties and compensation. In fact, in the year 1998, a group of hackers identified as a mealworm penetrated remotely computers as the Baba Atomic Research Center, though there is a call for the speculation that the international interests were behind to know our nuclear research stage. The world has faced several outbreaks of cyber crimes, and all those incidents made it important to safeguard the data. In the year 2005, I still remember the most famous Stuxnet worm breach that happened to cripple irons in the interest of the nuclear programs. The world witnessed two major cyber strikes such as the ransomware attack that took place in the latter part of 2017 and the early 2018. The NotPetya cyber attack that took place against Ukrainian government organization was malware and attacked the Ukrainian government agencies, ministry and banking agencies. That NotPetya has become one of the classic of the cyber crime, terrorism, that a country immediately spread is being wild the fire of the neighboring the European and the Eastern communist states. All such about these incidents were one who showed the importance of the data protection to the world, and these incidents leaked the certain data. So who has to take all these things? But the cyber sectors, how long? This is a new subject which has been created. Earlier, whatever the dispute, we file a suit. Under filing an application under 482, writ of mandamus, many issues we are taking care of it. But now, this all segregated. Everything I said, one must understand that the data today, world is nothing but information gold. It is called an information gold. And it has such all these attackers, knowing that the value of its exploiting, its several critical informations are seized by attackers of ransom and later released. Even if they are able to retrieve this information, still goes to the wrong hands, and the same leads to anarchy and chaos. Today, every citizen of this nation leads life in two realms, one physically and other one is a digital avatar. As a digital realm is a constant state of evolving, flux is the absolutely expedient to put checks and measures at place. Therefore, the rules and laws to govern the digital realm came into existence in the form of information technology in the year 2000. But we have to appreciate the government which has been taken. It is welcoming act in the year 2017. TDSAT has been made as a cyber appellate tribunal. This would benefit the intermediaries and various cyber forum stakeholders. The TDSAT, which is a unique adjudicating body of the telecom dispute, will be in the best position to deal with it, with the cyber issues, and also the telecom cyber forum are interconnected as one cannot sustain without the other. This move by the government making TDSAT as an appellate authority is a milestone in the cyber dispute resolution, and this will have to mark in the cyber dispute resolution. Even though with a lot of recent changes in the cyber forum, it becomes necessary we all must adapt ourselves with the technical improvement. And further we must improve ourselves by understanding the policy of data protection and security measures. We must appreciate the recent developments and the initiatives taken by our government. The government has rightly understood the dangers of cyber violations, especially in banking sectors. That is the reasons why the RBI, Reserve Bank of India, has brought the Ombudsman scheme for the digital transaction in the year 2019, where the process has been made more simpler. When why victim even being a layman is the more important. Why being victim as a layman can file an online complaint before the Ombudsman. In a similar initiative, the Ministry of Home Affairs has introduced a national cybercrime reporting portal that helps the victims to report about online frauds, social media impersonations, hacking and other cyber-related violations. These two initiatives by the government has made the cyber sector more safer, and further it has given to the protections for the general public whose life has mingled with the cyber forum. Our economic is one of the fastest developing economy, and the digitalization process is one of the keys for becoming $5 trillion economic. With the large base interest users, India is going through its digital transformations age. Even the courts are transforming the traditional practices by including the digital assistance in day-to-day the court proceedings. The live streaming of the court proceedings is one such example which shows the importance of technology in our day-to-day needs. However, to make use the cyber forum to its fullest, it is only the effective managing and resolving the dispute in cyber forum. For the main guiding light is a bringing awareness to the general public, and there must be a separate forum to enable the guidance assistance to the general public. The one measures that can be taken, the improving the awareness among the general public, is by increasing the scope, prevailing the national helpline. Thereby, it will increase the confidence among the people, mass as well as stakeholders. The dispute resolution system must be made more accessible so that the general public will be made aware about the rights and adventures of to implement the schemes, and the rights and data protections and data security must be enhanced by the intermediaries and the general public must cooperate with the purpose of enhancing the data security. These are the brief measures can be done, make this cyber forum safest place, make the best use of the technology for achieving our goal. I am repeatedly say the TDSAT, the regional bench extended from Delhi to Chennai. It should go and reach the public. That means even for the members of the bar, many of them may not aware. One point Mr. Wilson has rightly pointed out, these all the latest technology and apart from these tribunals should be in one place. We have more than 36 acres of land in Madras High Court. There are a number of places are there. I am repeatedly saying not only the TDSAT, even the national forums of CLAT and everything should come in one place. Then only the people to knock the doors of justice at your doorsteps. Justice Subhash Reddy used to say always. In such circumstances, even members of the bar, you forget the public. To members of the bar should aware what kind of issues can deal with the TDSAT. Even the telecom disputes or cyber sectors disputes, where we should go. That many of the people's members of the bar may not aware of this. So therefore, the training is required. I still remember 2005, the 89 CPC when taken place, the mediation and conciliation, Honorable Justice Morgan Day Kaju was the Chief Justice of Madras High Court, that he started the mediation center in Chennai, particularly in Madras High Court. Then that was headed by Mr. Panchu, Sriram Panchu. Then they got the training given to the members of the bar. Now there are many mediators are there, mediation conciliations, they are trained by them. Then only the people normally, then thereafter the courts have been allotted the cases to the mediation center. Like that, if the members of the bar come to know what are the dispute, you can go and knock the door of TDSAT. This must be more aware. The Honorable Justice, the former Chief Justice of Delhi High Court, and now the Chairman of the TDSAT, sir, you know well aware the situation, how it should be bring light and enlighten the members of the bar and as well as the public. So it will come to know that you have come here. Now it is easy for us. We cannot run away 2000 kilometers away when Delhi, the TDSAT was there. Now anyway, we have to thank the government. It has been allotted the place. At least some good place to choose. Either in High Court or there are many number of places in Chennai. You can get it. And sir, I pray with the help of the government and the members of the bar, sir, it should be run very peacefully with the help to the members of the public, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. As our next special guest, I would request Shri J. Kumara Gurubaran to throw light on adjudicative process with special emphasis on cyber frauds, challenges and remedies, sir. Please.
Good afternoon to all. First of all, my sincere thanks to the Honorable Chairperson for giving this opportunity today. Thank you, sir. I'll take you the free few minutes I will take for the briefing here. The primary importance for this theme we are given today is the importance of cyber security. The internet dependency is on the increase continuously for all purposes. So you should be careful. At the same side, there must be a carefulness, more awareness is also equally important. The negligence is the primary reason for making these things to happen. The cyber security issues primarily, we take it very casual and we handle these things very casually. That's the primary reason, the negligence, and same time the awareness is also missing in the society. The governmental data also says the attacks are happening very regularly. It's on the steep rise. Year on year, the data reveals that the attacks are happening more frequently on every second or fraction of seconds is happening. Many know, many do not know. When they realize, it's too late. Those issues also we are facing. Some of the major types of the cyber crimes I like to alert here is identity theft, psychological tricks, social media attacks, digital banking frauds, attacks through mobile applications, virus attacks on the personal computers or our belongings. Some of the popular cyber frauds, QR code frauds, KYC frauds, OTP based phishing, smishing, fake call centers, sextortion crimes, gift job frauds, investment app frauds, Facebook Messenger frauds, fake apps. Then we're covering some of the important configurations, what you want to adopt in the mobile phones or our gadgets, and few do's and don'ts also I like to hide here. Credit card skimming, it happening for a long time. Sometimes we used to give our card to the some of the persons in the hotels or places. They just take it there. They have a parallel machine. There are 2-3 machines there. Some of them are genuine card swiping devices. Some of the skimming devices. They just use it there and get our pins noted. Everything is noted there. Then the card is also created. They go to the ATM and drop the money. This happens in many places. Even still, there are cases getting reported in this way. And the youngsters nowadays, there is a habit of posting everything in the social media about the daily behavior, daily movements, today where I am, tomorrow where I will be. So, particularly when you're going for remote locations, even those things also posted on the websites or the social platforms. You tell where I will be tomorrow at what time in a hill remote place. So the security is also, there is a threat for those kind of reporting everything on the social platform. Someone may be following you closely, which you do not know. They may be continuously following us also. Some of the key frauds I just wanted to highlight. Many of them we may be also encountered some of these things, or they would attempted you towards this fraud, which of course you would have avoided. Some of them maybe had this bad experience also. The QR code based frauds. Sometimes they convince us to scan the QR code thinking that you receive the money, but the money gets debited. Instead of getting credited, the money goes out. Similarly, KYC frauds. There may be a call from the banker. They may introduce themselves as a banker, asking the basic data. Some urgency, they may say, we are migrating the platform. There is a data migration happening. Immediately, you please post all the data. We'll be sending a link to you. Some link may come. If you click, it goes. The data easily moves there. Even smishing. They send a SMS. Through SMS also, tiny URL is shared. The URL gets clicked. It takes to the portal. Then the information goes off. Fake call centers. Then recording of video calls and going for ransom. That's also another issue. Then lot of job frauds. They're offering you a job, 15,000 guaranteed immediately. All those things, because of the awareness is lacking. Continuously people are getting affected. There is a constant reporting of cases also in cyber cell. Even after the awareness is created, more awareness government is also creating. Even there are issues currently we are facing. The current issue, which is taking the major toll, investment app fraud. They just give you they give a lure. They give an opportunity. You invest 10,000 rupees, it becomes 1 lakh rupees. They create a fake wallet also. The wallet will show your money is 10,000 rupees. As of now, it is 50,000 rupees. It's a closed wallet. The moment you try to encash it, they say wallet is closed. Whatever the money already has gone also gone. So all these things, because of the people also in the need, going for a quick money, and also they wanted to take these opportunities of getting additional resources. Similarly, fake app. Lot of fake apps also there. It looks like the original application, but it's not the original one. It's as a fake one. We must be very careful installing the third-party application into the mobile phone also. We casually take some of our friends will say, family will say, take this mobile application, you can download, you can go into this. This also takes our personal data. Similarly, some of the settings also, the mobile phones, our digital gadgets, PDS, what we are doing is that we just allow everything, allow access. Suppose mobile app you download, you install, it has some multiple access it will seek. You will be, for the urgency, we will say, yes, okay. Everything is clicked. All the data, they have a pipeline. There's a backdoor is created. Without even knowing us, there's a backdoor is created. The data is going to definitely flow out of your mobile phone to the people or the application who are hosting it. Certain applications are third party, the mobile phone even gives a warning to us, or you want to install it. We say, yes, go ahead. We go one step further, yes, immediately you can install it. All this providing a backdoor to the mobile phones or the digital devices, taking the data remotely without even our consent, or we don't even know data is flowing for them. Even mobile phone charging stations outside, we see in some public places also, they put some malware. It's also get connected to the mobile phone. There is also a backdoor is created. So definitely we can't be like so vigilant everywhere, wherever we go. At the same time, some precautions we should be able to take it. Some settings also we can say when the phone is locked, there used to be notification coming on the mobile phone. It will show you, suppose if you say all notification on, the phone is found somewhere, even it's locked, someone can easily know about your activities. Your habits are also someone can easily track. If you select, I want to personalize the ads, I want to personalize certain specific things in the mobile application or website, then your habits are definitely starting getting tracked. So what you like, what you don't like, what you browse more, what you peruse more, all that the ML and AI starts working on it, it goes for the host who has a control over the application. So for all these purposes, we generally advise, even governmental purposes, the Tamil Nadu government also, the government has taken a policy decision of keeping all the software applications what the state government is currently operating in the government data center or the government clouds. For urgency, we have taken the help of some vendor, some software application provider who has taken the governmental service into online mode. But they had kept the data of the citizens, of the vital data of the public, are all kept in a cloud. Due to urgency, the government departments onboards a contract with the vendor, and he also takes all the permission from us. The data is some way, it is all taken out and stolen for higher considerations. Now government has taken a policy decision of providing space, either cloud space or rack space. You have to come to the governmental premises. There must be a control. There must be a whitelisting has to happen. Then only we can secure the public data. Our PDS data has 7 crore Aadhaar numbers. There is a data in Tamil Nadu which is for the PDS system. Similarly, transport vehicle system. Everything is all now we have moved to the data center in the governmental location for a data security and to avoid this data theft also. All these things, awareness is also very important for the citizens as well as for the government. Even government departments that doesn't know how to onboard a software application provider. We just onboard an agency, they develop the code, they launch the application, the system working well, but without even knowing where the data is residing currently, it's in their hands or in the government hands. So we are educating our departments also to go for a secure application, secure data storing places also. So this again, I wanted to thank Honorable Chairperson for giving the opportunity today. Most of the issues what in the slides is all known to us only. Again, we wanted to conclude this session. Few things I wanted to mention. You just uninstall the unused mobile applications regularly can be uninstalled. Similarly, you can go for a DND mode. We can avoid unnecessary calls also. Then you have to update sometimes this the best method they're saying is the app update also, because once these bugs are notified, the hosts are continuously giving the fixes. So every time we have to go for an update, instead of going for, you can go for auto update mode, the bugs are getting constantly fixed. The security is built to the next level. So certain things we can do with our digital devices, all these things we can be avoiding, and we should not be victim of these kind of incidents in the future. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. As a next speaker, I would request Shri Kunal Tandon, Advocate, prominent member of Telecom Lawyers Association, to share his views on civil jurisdiction under Information Technology Act 2000. Thank you, Kunal.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Member Judicial, and Honorable Member TDSAT, ladies and friends, there were many examples that were exchanged today. Though I prepared a PPT, but I think let me start by taking these examples. and I'll take it forward from where Mr. Guruban left. And in fact, he didn't tell you that he's the adjudicating officer for state of Tamil Nadu. So, what is the role of the adjudicating officer is what I'm going to talk about. In fact, he is the original authority up to rupees 5 crores before whom compensation cases under Chapter 9 come. So that's very important. I think most of us don't even know that there is this civil jurisdiction which exists under the Information Technology Act of 2000. And the adjudicating officers are appointed by all states. And the TDSAT is the Cyber Appellate Tribunal who sits over in appeal over the adjudicating officer's orders. So this is very important. So if we go further, Chapter 9 needs to be understood. The acting Chief Justice of Madras High Court in the morning said that he was dealing with a matter in a writ jurisdiction where a cyber fraud had happened and the person lost, I think, 10 lakhs, he said, and then he said in quick successions another 10 lakhs. Now, of course, that cyber fraud will have two kinds of remedies. One, the civil, and second, the criminal. Of course, when you go for criminal jurisdiction, he also said that the person was in Nigeria. So how do you go behind a Nigerian? He's not in India. So criminal jurisdiction takes a long time. Civil jurisdiction makes the entire liability, in fact, points the liability upon the person who is liable for leaking, let me use that word, leaking the data. So Section 43, Section 45, these are all compensations given by the adjudicating officer against the person who is liable for leaking that data or various other things. And hence it is important for us to understand this civil jurisdiction. Let me straight away come to Chapter 9. Section 43 and 43A imposes liability to pay damages as a method to pay compensation to persons suffered due to such violations. 45 also does a similar kind of actions. Section 45 also lays down what are the powers of the adjudicating officers. So it is important that we understand Section 45. Section 46. So powers of the adjudicating officer, it is important to understand that he has the power to adjudicate claims up to 5 crores and beyond 5 crores you have a right to go to a competent court, which could be a civil court or any other court as may be advisable in those circumstances. So these are the powers of the adjudicating officer. From the order of the adjudicating officer, there is a Cyber Appellate Tribunal, which is the TDSAT now. And from Cyber Appellate Tribunal, there is another appeal provided, is to the High Court. In fact, to the High Court on facts and not on substantial question of law. This is also provided under the Act. So my entire aim was to tell all of you that there is a civil jurisdiction. If we can just come to the next slide, just to tell you as to what are the kinds of compensations which are available under Section 43. Can we come to Section 43 slide? Anyway, so I compare this compensation provided under 43 principally to something like if someone is having a property, an immovable property, for example. Someone enters your property, it's trespass. You want to seek compensation, you go to civil court. Someone destroys your immovable property, you seek compensation. Principally, the concept is the same. Computer. Today, everything is a computer. Your phone is a computer. Your computer system lying at your house, your laptop is a computer. So anything any person does to that particular equipment comes under section 43. So principally, the concept is the same as one would apply to an immovable property or any other property that you may hold. So ultimately, introducing a virus, downloading any information from your computer, remote hacking, disrupting the systems, accessing information which is stored in your computer, etc., etc. So it is a very wide range of activities which are covered under section 43. Three terms which are important is computer, which is defined under 2I, computer network, and computer system. So when we say computer, it does not only mean a computer lying here with my friend Harsh. It would mean a iPad, it would mean a phone, it could mean any item which is working on the internet, any equipment working on the internet. So that wide jurisdiction is available under the Act. So my request to all of you is that please exercise your rights under the Information Technology Act. Rushing to the cyber cell is important, there's no doubt, but ultimately getting your money back through the action of civil jurisdiction provided under the information technology is also your right. So do read up section 43 onward, chapter 9, and you will realize that it is something which is very easy. Adjudicating officers generally decide matters within 3 months to 6 months, and you can get your money back while being in India, and you don't have to go to Nigeria to run after those people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kunal. Now I would like to invite my colleague Shri Harsh Kaushik, advocate, prominent member of Telecom Lawyers Association, to share his views on emerging regulatory landscape and issues arising in respect of satellite-based internet services. Thank you, Harsh.
Thank you, Payal. Honorable Justice Patel, Mr. Sundaresan, Mr. Prabhakaran, Mr. Kumar Gurubaran, Kunal, honorable members of the TDSAT, esteemed dignitaries both on and off the stage, respected Mr. Bajpayee, members of the Madras Bar and the TDSAT Bar, my dear students, ladies and gentlemen. A special thanks to the stalwarts who preceded me and gave their speeches. They were very enriching, and it was a pleasure listening to all of them. Now, there's a famous saying which says that wisdom comes to those who remain hungry. So I would request all of you to kindly continue to believe in that saying while I complete my talk, because I believe I'm the last speaker before lunch. So just bear with me on that. Now, the topic of my talk is emerging regulatory landscape and issues arising in respect of satellite-based internet services. I'll make an attempt to simplify the topic. I assume the topic itself is containing a lot of telecom jargon. It seems to give an impression we may as well have lunch than listen to the speaker, but I'll make my attempts. Now, what is satellite-based internet or broadband service? If I may just explain that very simply. Now, in a typical terrestrial broadband service, as we all know, there will be an optical fiber which is laid under the ground, and you receive broadband through that. Now, satellite services, conceptually, what they will do is that the internet service providers, our very own Airtel, Vodafone, etc., will beam internet signals from here, Earth, to a particular satellite up in the sky. From that satellite, the internet signals will then be beamed back to a particular consumer, say like me, who will have a dish antenna like we have in our DTH, for our DTH operators, a dish antenna installed on the rooftop. The dish antenna will receive those signals from that particular satellite, and the dish antenna will then transmit those internet signals to the modem. All of us have modem in our homes, and you will then be easily able to avail internet services in your house. So simply put, satellite-based internet services is this. Now, what's the main difference that we see between typical terrestrial networks which are run through optical fibers and which will be run through a satellite-based service? Now, in terrestrial networks, the data is actually stored in base stations here in Earth. However, in a satellite-based internet system, the entire data will be stored up in the sky, in the satellite itself. That's one of the key differences that we see in a terrestrial system and in a satellite-based system. Another key difference is that a consumer, as I said, will need a dish antenna to be able to access this service. So, as popularly, we would ideally want a scenario wherein in our mobile phones, we are easily able to receive the same internet service like we do right now, also from the satellites, but that's not the case. If you need broadband through satellite, you'll need a dish antenna installed in your house, and through that, you can then be able to receive these signals. Now, why is it that presently so much interest has been generated in this service? There must be a particular reason why internationally and even domestic players here back in India are running after the government to be able to give these services to the consumers. Now, of course, one advantage is pretty obvious and visible to all of us, that in a typical terrestrial network, it is very, very difficult to reach the remotest part of the countries. In a satellite-based system, what you will be able to do is that through a satellite, you'll be able to cover even the remotest parts of the countries very, very easily. So that's one of the very basic and simplistic but very important advantages of this satellite-based internet system that we will have. Another, of course, is that it will be extremely cost-effective. Naturally, because the usual capital-intensive infrastructure that you'll need to build to be able to provide broadband services of having a right-of-way, laying down the cables in the ground, and so on and so forth, all those will then be much, much less in a satellite-based system. Now, just to give an instance, recently the Federal Communications Commission of US, they were making an analysis and they realized that for the balance 80% of the people who are yet to be connected with broadband, they will have to spend almost $40 billion to connect them. But if they were to adopt the satellite-based system, the cost will almost come down to 50%, that is $20 billion. So that's substantial cost saving in this particular kind of system that we have. Now, also, lastly, it's more reliable. And why is it more reliable? Of course, because it is satellite-based. So the disruptions that are caused, say, in a cable-based terrestrial system will not be there. So as a concept, there are various advantages which are linked to this kind of system, which is why it is becoming very, very popular, and people and all stakeholders, if I may say, are rushing towards providing these services. Now, what is the current regulatory landscape that we have, which is a part of the topic that I'm speaking on today? Thankfully, the Department of Telecommunications recently in October 2022 came out with guidelines which has consolidated this entire area in the sense that it provides detailed description of how you can obtain permissions in order to provide these very services. Now, just to give a small gist of what are the salient features of these guidelines. One, of course, you'll need a permission specifically from the Department of Telecommunications to be able to provide this service. Now, that permission will be under your typical unified license. You only have to apply to the DOT, you'll get that permission, and you can move forward. You will also need a permission from the Department of Space. You will also need a permission from the WPC wing in order that the frequency is assigned to you. And then there are other permissions which are required from National Operation Control Center as well. Now, simply put, there are various kind of permissions which you will need from the DOT, and you can choose any, but the most popular one which presently is there is Global Mobile Personal Communication by Satellite. The name speaks for itself. That is the GMPCS permission that is available. Now, that allows you to provide both voice and non-voice directly to a consumer. So that's the most appropriate and efficient permission that you can obtain from the Department of Telecommunication to provide these services. Another one, of course, all of us, again to simplify, all of us have seen a bank ATM. Now, a bank ATM works on a technology which is called VSAT CUG, Closed User Group technology. That's a very small aperture terminal. It receives signals and transmits that to the ATM, and you are able to operate the ATM. That's another permission which you can use if you were to provide these satellite services. However, you will still need an additional ISP license, Internet Service Provider license, if you wish to provide satellite-based internet services. Then another popular, probably the students will also be interested in that, is we have all heard of in-flight and maritime connectivity. Now, most people would want their private time when they are flying. They would actually not want to be connected to the internet. fortunately or unfortunately, we now have guidelines which, or we have now guidelines since 2018, which allow Wi-Fi to be available even on airplanes. Now, some may take it as a boon, some may take it as a problem because they now don't have the excuse of not remaining connected while they are in an airplane. But those are the rules which provide how you can remain connected on an airplane and provide Wi-Fi while being there. Again, you will need an ISP license for that and also an NLD license if you wish to provide those services. Now, one very interesting and commendable thing which the department has done while framing these guidelines, I must say, is that an inter-ministerial committee for satellite network clearance has been formed under these guidelines. Now, what that does is that it makes a centralized system wherein you can apply to the inter-ministerial group for permission. Once you receive their go-ahead, you can straight away apply to the satellite division of that particular department, which is the Department of Telecommunication in this case, and you can go through with the service. Now, this one fastens the process, two, it makes it centralized, and three, very importantly, it allows you to get the other permissions from other departments very quickly because of this centralized system that is there. So, it's very commendable what has been done insofar as forming of this committee is concerned. Now, there are 2-3 things, and in India, we typically always ask, time kitna lagega? So, how much time will it take for me to actually get this? So, thankfully, that aspect has also been taken care of in these guidelines, and prescribed time limits are provided for within which you will get your permissions and approvals. So, that's another very welcome step, which I must say, which the department has taken. Another technical thing, but I believe I can make an attempt to simplify, is that there is a concept of geostationary satellites, which are stationary, or say they remain at one place. And then there is a concept of non-geostationary satellites, which will orbit the Earth. Now, of course, non-geostationary satellites are more effective because they allow more reliable connectivity. A very progressive step, which I must say, which the department has taken again, is that they have permitted, unlike before, straight away in these guidelines, that even NGSOs, as in non-geostationary satellites, will also be permitted to be used for providing these services. Now, whenever a new thing comes, there are emerging issues which happen, like always. So, a couple of them which I'll highlight very quickly, which I believe should be ironed out before they become a problem, is that foreign satellites are also permitted to be used to provide this service. But there seems to be no clarity as to if I were to establish a gateway here in India, which is a necessity if you were to use a foreign satellite, what kind of authorization will I need? There's no clarity presently on that. Thankfully, TRAI very recently in November 2022 has done its part in terms of recommending that there can be a satellite earth station gateway license separately which can be issued, which will then allow a gateway to be taken in a licensed form from the DOT, and then even a foreign satellite can then be used. Now, of course, that again, I must say, shows a very progressive mindset. Why I say that is because normally when we hear about satellite issues, our data and some foreign satellite being used, we, if I may say, the first reaction is, my God, there may be some problem there. But the government has been careful, and that's why these recommendations have been made by TRAI. And should this were to go forward, usage of foreign satellites will be very, very cost efficient and will allow these services to be deployed faster, if I may say that. Then, another aspect is that a GMPCS licensee is not been permitted to take the license under the IFMC rules. That's another aspect which needs to be taken care of, which I believe the DOT can look at. Now, one last aspect on these guidelines which I wish to highlight is that whenever a new technology comes, there is excitement, like there is for this service as well. And security seems to take a backseat. It's important to pay heed to how secure these services will be, for the simple reason that unlike before, satellites are not now immune to hacking. They can be hacked. Recently, when Russia invaded Ukraine, there was a blackout in a very large part of Europe because of a hacking of a satellite which took place. So it can't be that we ignore these aspects and move forward with this technology without ensuring that the security is in place and we are not in that sense making the service or giving the service a bad name just because we didn't take care of the security aspect. So that's an aspect that both the players and the department will have to look at very, very carefully. UK has of course followed, just to state an international position, UK has of course followed similar to us. They have also now permitted, looking at us, the non-geostationary satellites to be used for providing these services. Now, lastly, I would say that any new technology which comes, there is always usually some resistance that we have. But I do believe that this particular technology can be game changing, especially to ensure broadband connectivity in the remotest part of the country. Now, while I'm sure that by now I would have aroused hunger amongst all of you, I only hope that it is largely towards getting more information on the topic and less towards the sumptuous meal that has been served for all of us outside. And just one thing, Mr. Wilson's not here, but I would want to, on the lighter vein, tell him that not often do you have a forum where you have valet parking, and when you come down after the matter, you can have a coffee and cookies with your clients. So there are its own advantages that you have of having a forum in a hotel. So I would personally invite him to come down to Delhi maybe, and maybe I will be able to change his views as to the advantages of being there in TDSAT. So I wish to thank the Honorable Chairperson, the Honorable members of the TDSAT and the TDSAT Bar to give me the opportunity to speak today beside such an august panel of speakers. Thank you. Vanakkam.
Thank you so much, Harsh. Now the forum is open for any questions or queries. Yes, please.
Yeah, this is Praveen Sharma from Tata Communications. Harsh, while you had a very good lecture on satellite-based services, one of the biggest hurdle or the issues which will arise is how will the spectrum will get allocated for satellite services. Right now, that is in a flux, whether the spectrum will be allocated through auction or administratively. Globally, it is done administratively. Here, the DOT has taken a stand that is going to be auctioned, and the issue is going to be considered about TRA. So that is the biggest hurdle, the low Earth orbit, which is actually LEO satellites, which will give the substitutable broadband services through satellite as against the fiber. So that is the biggest issue, and that will take most of the time while these services come. So, and if the spectrum do get available at the auction price, because what happens, sir, the spectrum which is required to be allocated is same as 5G spectrum. So there is a case from the other side that we are giving services using the terrestrial network, the wireless network, but with auction spectrum. And how can you allow the satellite people to give with a free spectrum? So that kind of issues are there which will need to get sorted out. Secondly, I had a query regarding the cyber sector. More than 5 crore fraud where it will go. Because till 5 crore it's the adjudicating officer. More than 5 crores fraud where it will go, sir.
Let that unfortunate man come, then we'll see. Those with less are running pillar to post. So
Yes.
the forum is not given to any tribunal. It's a nice CPC. All tools which are not part. Therefore, if there is no forum, it goes to sir. I have as lawyers, we have different views. Because if the jurisdictions are conferred on forum, then their forum must exercise jurisdiction completely to the outskirts of every other. So
அப்படி உசுறு ப்ளே பண்ணி விட்டுலாமா கீழே அவங்க
directly to the TDSAT. It can't be otherwise. That it goes to civil court, it can't be.
கட்டை சொல்ல ரெண்டாயிரம்
As an appellate court.
என்ன பண்ணுங்க மைக்
That's right, sir. That's right, sir. That's right. I go with that.
And privileged for this opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on this August